Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today we are doing my first TBR of 2025. It's my January TBR. Kind of excited, kind of nervous. I'm kind of bringing in a little bit of a new game. It's not too new, to be fair. It's the kind of thing I've been doing for a couple of years now since I stopped doing Bookopoly, but in a different capacity, in a way, if you like. I have done myself a new TBR jar with a whole bunch of TBR prompts. The cards are great, but I keep leaving them in books, and slowly but surely my pile has reduced massively, and obviously I've used them a lot now to the point that I think I've picked almost every single one out. So this, as you can see, has a significant amount of, this is a big cup, you know, like this has got a significant amount of TBR prompts in here. There are all kinds of prompts in here. We have things like our fantasy TBR, my horror bingo TBR to help me encourage picking those books up. We have things like, we've got specific authors where I might have multiple books from them. So I've got like Kennedy Ryan on here, Alyssa Cole, I've got Ali Hazelwood, I can't remember who else I've got on here that I've got multiple books from, Penelope Douglas. So I have things like that, and then I have the usual suspects: TBR Vet, most recent purchase, a romance, a thriller. I have specific tropes. I've got best friend's brother in here, amnesia trope, haunted house book. So I've got all different types of prompts in here, and these are the sorts of things that, you know, can be replaced consistently. So I've got friend pick in here as well, so it's the sort of thing where I would probably just message someone and get them to recommend me a book maybe, or ask in my Discord. I've got Andy pick in here as well, which is the sort of thing that obviously I would have to come back and film again at a later date and then put it in afterwards, especially on days when he's working like today. So here's hoping that doesn't come out. And I think the thing is with these is that I get carried away. I enjoy myself too much and I end up doing like 7 or 8 of them, and I should probably stick to 5 so that I can mood read the rest of the month. It's just hard for me to actually stick to 5. But I think we're going to do that for today. For January, we're going to do 5 and start off that way. So we are going to start off with my Patreon pot. Oh shit. If you didn't know what this is, it is basically my top tier patrons get to put a book in here, and I pick a book out every month. In general, in 2024, I think there's only 2 that I didn't read. One of them I started but didn't finish, and the other one, it's not a DNF, but I need to come back to it. The other one is the first in a new series, but you have to have finished the previous series off, and I haven't. So I don't know if I'm going to come back to that one or not. We'll see at some point maybe. Alright, what is this one? That's It, Always Only You by Chloe Leese from Victoria. Yay! I want to continue on this series. Okay, let me get that. This works well for Final Book Support Group as well. Okay, so we've got Always Only You by Chloe Leese. This is book 2 in the Bergman Brothers series. I read book 1 a while ago. It has been a while since I read book 1 as well. This one is following Ren and Frankie. Ren. The moment I met her, I knew Frankie Zeffirino was someone worth waiting for. Deadpan delivery, secret heart of gold, and a rare one-dimpled smile that makes my knees weak. Frankie has been forbidden since the day she and I became co-workers, meaning waiting has been the name of my game, besides hockey, that is. I'm a player on the team, she's on staff, and as long as we work together, dating is off limits, but patience has always been my virtue. Frankie won't be here forever. She's headed for bigger, better things. I just hope that when she leaves the team and I tell her how I feel, she won't leave me behind too. Frankie, I've had a problem at work since the day Ren Bergman joined the team. A 6'3" hunk of happy with a sunshine smile. I'm a grumbly grump, and his ridiculously good nature drives me nuts. But even I can't entirely ignore that hot tay male of ginger with icy eyes, the perfect playoff beard, and body built for sin that he's annoyingly modest about. Before I got wise, I would have tripped over myself to get a guy like Ren. But with my diagnosis, I've learned what I am to most people in my life: a problem, not a person. Now opening my heart to anyone, no matter how sweet, is the last thing I'm prepared to do. Sounds great. interested to learn more. This is the Afterlight edition. Is it Afterlight? Yeah, Afterlight exclusive edition. So I'm very excited to continue on this series. Actually, this is a series I would like to potentially finish by the end of 2025, so this is a great start. So thank you, Victoria, for popping that on here. I appreciate that. Readathons, by the way, as well. In January, we've got Winterween, which I will be taking part in. That is hosted by Gabby from Gabby Reads. And then there's also Final Book Support Group towards the end of the month, which obviously I host as well. So I'll be taking part in both of those. I have the F1 Readathon with my patrons, which is very early on in January. Really early on in January, actually. Literally the 1st and 2nd of Jan. I'm assuming people are off, so we're going to do it then. So that's going to be the first book on here. Very quick housekeeping as well. I do have 2 buddy reads that I'll be doing during January, albeit one of them probably will go into February. So the first one is The Return of the King, Lord of the Rings Part 3, which is the final book in this series. So we'll probably go on for Final Book Support Group. We've been doing this as like a loose buddy read for Patreon. So I do want to finish this series off. And then I've also got Phantasma by Kaylee Smith, which is our January-February Patreon buddy read. So I will probably end up picking this up in February, but I did just want to mention it just in case I do get to it in January. But chances are I'll push it into Feb so that I can read it before the live show, hopefully. We'll see, but I wanted to mention it very, very quickly, but I am now going to put that to the side so that I've mentioned it. If you catch me reading it in January, that's why, but otherwise it's probably going to be a Feb read. So this will also go on here, and if I can get it to fit in a prompt, I will do. If not, I'll be reading it regardless. So let's do our 5. It would be nice, I've got a stack of books here that I do want to get to in January, so it'd be nice to fit some of those on, but we'll see what happens with this. I feel like maybe I need a bigger pot already. All right, let's do this one. I typed these up on the computer as well. What do we have? Does that say 5-star prediction? Woo! Don't know how I feel about that, because I don't know how... I'm not great at predicting my 5-star reads. I've got to be honest. Is there a final book that I think could potentially be 5 stars? Or a continuation station?
2 very boring minutes later.
Alright, I'm going to go for a continuation station, but this will actually, other than the novella in this series, this will get me completely up to date with the series. And I've read it, you've probably heard me talking about this a lot, but I've read it entirely in the wrong order. I read book 3 because I got an arc, and then book 4 because I got an arc of that, and then book 1. And now this is book 2, and book 5 is coming out later on in 2025, so I want to make sure that I'm completely up to date with all of these. There is a prequel as well that I do want to get to, so maybe I'll also get to that in January. But the book in question is Stay With Me by Brooke Montgomery. This is book 2 in this series, and I've been loving this series so far. It is the Sugarland Creek series, and this one is Brother's Best Friend, which is one of my favourite tropes, so I'm very excited. A best friend's brother standalone from small town romance author Brooke Montgomery about a girl who falls pregnant by the wrong man and the cowboy who takes her in. I've crushed on my best friend's brother for years. He's a 6'3" dark-haired cowboy who works on his family's ranch and sends butterflies to my stomach anytime he looks at me. But he's never made a move, so I need to get over it. Except when he reads a text message about me liking a mysterious guy. He snaps and demands answers. Little does he know it's my code name for him. When he finally confesses he likes me too, I find out I'm pregnant with my ex-boyfriend's baby. After spending 3 weeks together in secret, my world turns upside down when that little white stick reveals a positive sign from the one night stand I had before him. Now everything's a mess and my life's spiralling out of control. I can't expect him to date me anymore, so I insist we return to being friends. The last thing he needs is a girl who's carrying another man's baby and about to be a first-time mum. But when my apartment gets broken into and there's a suspected criminal on the loose, he insists I move in with him to keep me safe. Staying platonic proves to be harder with each passing day as he goes with me to my appointments, takes me baby shopping, and stocks the kitchen with all my weird cravings. He's so involved that everyone assumes he's the father and I don't correct them. But the truth always comes out in a southern small town. I'm so excited to read this. I do love Brother's Best Friend, and I have met these characters, so I know them already. So I am really, really excited for this one. The characters in question are, I've forgotten right now, but the characters in question are Trip and also Magnolia. So I'm really, really excited. Magnolia is Noah's best friend from the first book. So really excited about this one. Glad I've managed to get this on for a 5-star prediction. That's exciting. And also another book for Final Book Support Group. So yay for that. And let me just take out the Lord of the Rings from here so I don't get confused and pop it on there. And I'll add it back in if we don't get it in with a prompt. Okay, so next, let's go for just one, please. This one is partially open. What does that say? Oh, it's upside down. Small book, under 300 pages. Okay, let me just check. All right, I could have gone for the novella in that series, to be perfectly honest, but I'll just do that as a mood read if I'm in the mood for it, and if not, I'll do it another time, which is fine. To be fair, I could probably save it for like April, which is a good time to do because obviously I do 30 books in 30 days in April. So I'm actually going to go for one which is on the upper end of this scale, and I'm actually going to go for God Killer by Hannah Kaner. This seems super fucking weird and very out there, I think. I feel like, but I'm planning on doing a video project in 2025. I'm hoping that I actually stick to it, fingers crossed, and this is tied in with that video project. I wonder if you can guess what said video project is, but this is a Illumicrate edition, and I haven't read it yet. I do have Sunbringer, and then the third one's coming out, I believe, in 2025, the final one. I thought that it was a duology. It's not, it's a trilogy, so good time to be reading it anyway. You are not welcome here, God Killer. Kissen's family were killed by zealots of a fire god. Now she makes a living killing gods and enjoys it. That is until she finds a god she cannot kill. Skedi, a god of white lies, has somehow bound himself to a young noble, and they are both on the run from unknown assassins. Joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, they must travel to the ruined city of Blenradden, where the last of the wild gods reside, to each beg a favour. Pursued by demons and in the midst of burgeoning civil war, they will all face a reckoning. Something is rotting at the heart of the kingdom, and only they can be the ones to stop it. Sounds interesting. So it doesn't look like a small book, but it's 290 pages, so it's under 300 pages. And this does help me out with a video project, so that is good news, which, you know, always a win for that. So we'll whack that on. So that's 2 that I've pulled out of here, so we've got 3 more to do. Let's go right down to the bottom and do this one. We have a friend pick. Just wondering what the best way for me to do this is. Do I send a quick message into my Discord and get someone to recommend me a book very quickly and pick the first book that's recommended? Why did I put this in here? I don't like control being taken away from me, so I don't know why I did this to myself. Let's do that. Let me take a quick picture of this so that I can send it to them. Right, I've sent it in the Discord. We'll see what comes back. We'll come back round to that in a second. Okay, book number 4. It will actually be book 5 if you include the Patreon pick, but book number 4 out of here. What have we got? Is this the right way around or not? Is there anything written on here? Oh, okay. Okay, that says ARC. So, an advanced reader's copy. Now, I have a few physical... Oh, it says ARC. Advanced reader's copy. I have a few physical ones, but let me have a quick look what I've actually got in... I have a section on Notion for my NetGalley arcs so that I can keep an eye on what I've got and what's coming out soon, etc, etc. So, oh yeah, I could do with reading that one actually. I really want to read Not in My Book by Katie Holt, but the ARC edition that I've got is the format is wrong. So chapter 1 and chapter 8 have actually blended at the beginning of the book, and I literally cannot figure it out. It's like a puzzle, and it's, you know, that's not my job. So I'm struggling with that a little bit. I think...
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Alright, so I'm actually going to go for Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney, which I'm super duper excited about, and so far I've seen fantastic reviews for. It does come out on the 30th of January, so it's late on in January, which is nice. It gives me some time to get to it. But let's find out what the synopsis is of this, because I actually have no idea. But I'm very excited to have an arc of it and feel very, very lucky indeed. So, it's only like 320 pages as well. It's a smaller one for sure. We have... Author Grady Green is having the worst best day of his life. Grady calls his wife as she's driving home to share some exciting news. He hears Abby slam on the brakes, get out of the car, then nothing. When he eventually finds her car by a cliff edge, the headlights are on, the driver's door is open, her phone is still there, but his wife has disappeared. A year later, Grady is still overcome with grief and desperate to know what happened to Abby. He can't sleep and he can't write, so he travels to a tiny Scottish island to get his life back on track. Then he sees the impossible, a woman who looks exactly like his missing wife. Wives think their husbands will change, but they don't. Husbands think their wives won't change, but they do. That sounds really, really good, and I can probably slot it in for Winterween, which is fantastic, and means that I will get it read before release day, which is great news. So that's very exciting. I need to remember that I've got this. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're doing the last one out of here. See, this is the problem. I want to do another one now. Actually, I will do 6, because 6 is a nicer number than 5. There's nothing wrong with 5. I just like even numbers. We'll see how this goes first. And then I'll make that decision. Okay, this way round. So we have a book with a person on the cover. Okay, do I have any of those in my stacks? I do, actually. I do. It's kind of more of a silhouette of a person on the cover, but it's a person on the cover, you can see it. It's just that you can't fully see them. And it's True Crime Story by Joseph Knox. This is actually the for Buzzwordathon for January. True. The buzzword for Buzzwordathon in January is Truth on Lies. So I've picked True Crime Story for this one, and I'm going to pick this one up. So this will also get a book off of my 25 in 2025 list too, which is great news. I don't know a great deal about this, but it looks really interesting. There is a person on the cover, and when I flicked through it a minute ago, there was a picture of Ghostface. Don't know why. But it sounds fascinating. I've heard great things. I know that Meg from Meg with Books really enjoyed this one, and I have had it on my shelves ever since then, so I do want to pick this up. There he is. Ghostface. I think it's mixed media. In the early hours of Saturday the 17th of December 2011, Zoe Nolan, a 19-year-old Manchester University student, walks out of a party alone. She was never seen again. I live in Manchester. 7 years later, writer Evelyn Mitchell finds herself drawn into the mystery and begins piecing together what really happened back then. But where some versions of events make sense, others are troublingly inconsistent. One thing is for sure, Zoe isn't the woman she was pretending to be, and she may be missing, presumed dead, but her story is only just beginning. Sounds fascinating, and I'm very excited about reading this one. Again, I can add this to my Winterween TBR, and thank you to Claire for sending me this one a while ago. I truly appreciate it. Okay, on that basis, I do think I will do another. Oh wait, I need to find out first what my patrons said. Did anybody come back? Well, they're about as useful as Chocolate Fireguard, aren't they? Not a thing. Alright, let's pick another. If they come back before the end of the video, I'll add that book to my TBR as well. And if they don't, we'll give them one more pick out of here. And if they don't come back to me, I will do another pick, and that will have to go, well, all these prompts will go back in the jar anyway, but it will have to be done another day, unfortunately. Kindle Unlimited. Oh, I don't know what I have out on Kindle Unlimited at the moment. Somebody's just replied. Okay. We'll check that in a second. Let me do Kindle Unlimited first, see what comes back. Ooh. See, I have Phantasma on here for Kindle Unlimited, but I probably will read that in December. No, What? It's because I'm looking at Christmas books. In February. I'll probably read it in February. Struggles. Dumb fuck. Oh, I don't know what to do with this. Because a lot of the books that I have out at the moment are Christmas ones. Because it's December. So a lot of them are Christmas books. I could... Do I want to do that though? We're going to be a bit messy here. I need to know what's been suggested from the patron first before I make a decision on what book to pick. Oh, Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. I don't own it yet. My copy hasn't come. I don't know if it's meant to be coming in January or not. I've got the Illumicrate copy and it's not come yet. Yeah, so Claire has suggested Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune, which is a recent read for her, but and I'm fairly certain that she suggested that to me for 12 books from 12 friends. Let me just double check whether or not I'm correct with that. I'm sure that's on my 12 books from 12 friends list for 2025. No, she suggested In the Lives of Puppets, the other one by TJ Klune. But my copy hasn't arrived yet, so I'm just going to show a picture of it on the screen because Illumicrate have been very, very late with it. So my copy has not yet arrived, but I'm hoping that it will come in January. Fingers crossed. They've been really late. I don't know what's going on. So back to Kindle Unlimited. I have a number of books right now on my Kindle Unlimited that I could do for this. There is a lot of romance on here. Now, it could be really nice to myself. Let me just grab a couple of them because I do physically own a few of them. Hang on. Okay, so I could be really nice to myself and pick Come With Me by Brooke Montgomery, which is the novella I was talking about for the Sugarland Creek series. This would make sense. I do currently have that on Kindle Unlimited. I also have Glow of the Everflame by Penn Call on Kindle Unlimited, but this is a brick and I just don't know if I'll have the time because there's a bunch of other books here in this stack that I would like to get to. I also have Hideaway by Penelope Douglas and I really do want to get back to this series. But again, I just don't know if I have the time. I don't know what to pick. I then have like a bunch of Christmas books. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Christmas books on here. I really do want to read the Addicted to You series by Christina and Becca Ricci, but I feel like I need to be finishing some series before I start that. I've got Wild Eyes on here by Elsie Silver, which I could do as a continuation station. Again, the Book of Azrael and the Road of Bones will start series. The Final Scene could be a good one maybe for by Steph Nelson for Winterween. And then I also have Never Lie by Frida McFadden, which could be a good one for Winterween as well. I actually think I might go for The Final Scene. I've been wanting to read that one for ages. Like, that is like one of the furthest down on my thing. So I've got the Book of Azrael here, Road of Bones, and then The Final Scene here. So it's like the third oldest one on my thing. So I think I'm going to go for The Final Scene, actually. That's a good shout. The Final Scene by Steph Nelson. Let's have a look at the synopsis for this. I think it's like a cabin... Oh no, it's something to do with... She's been kidnapped for a while, I think, and she's kept in this cabin, and then a new girl comes in. I think that's what's going on. Anyway, the cabin is unlocked, but there's no escape. When Brooke was kidnapped on her way home from work, she thought her life was over. That was 10 years ago. She's been held captive in an isolated cabin on the Oregon coast ever since, scrambling to follow her kidnapper's twisted instructions to the letter because the price of mistake is death. But when a new victim shows up, everything changes, including the rules, and this time the only way to survive is to break them. Wowzers. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. That sounds great. Okay, so we've got The Final Scene by Steph Nelson for Kindle Unlimited. So I do have 3 here that I don't actually own the physical books for. Which is great news. And then this is how the rest of them have gone. So we've got the 3 with the prompts, and then this one, which is the patron pick. And then I do have The Return of the King, obviously, for the final Lord of the Rings book. So this is how my TBR is looking. It's not too bad, I don't think. I obviously have the other 3 books. The Steph Nelson book isn't too long. I think it's less than 300 pages. And then my ARC obviously is less than 300 pages. That's like 280 pages, I think. No, sorry, it's 320 pages. Sorry, really dumb of me. 320 pages. And then I'm not sure how long Somewhere Beyond the Sea is, but I'm excited to read that one. And again, can be used for Final Book Support Group. So I do have a couple of books that can be used for Final Book Support Group. So these 3 plus Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I've got a couple of continuation stations here. Actually, this would pretty much wrap the series up other than the novella. This is a final book in a series. And I think Somewhere Beyond the Sea is the final book as well in that duology. And then I have one that is actually 3 along with Beautiful, Ugly and the final scene for Winterween, which is great. And then God Killer for one of my video projects as well that I'm doing in January. So it's not turned out too bad. I'm quite happy with this. The stack will obviously be bigger with the other 3 books that I've got on here as well. But it's not horrendous. It's not too bad. I do still have other books here that I'm intrigued about. For Winterween, I do really want to get to Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, but I'm already reading now Beautiful Ugly, so I don't know if I'll get to that or not. I also pulled out In a Dark Dark Wood by Ruth Ware and then The Bitter End by Alexa Donne. I think I definitely will get to this one because it looks perfect for Winterween, to be perfectly honest. So I do have those, and then just a handful of other books on my radar as well that I do want to get to in January that I'm not going to mention because they're for the video projects and I don't want to spoil what that project is going to be. So yeah, overall, not too bad. Not too shabby. I'm excited. We will see what else I manage to get to in January, but chat to me in the comments down below. Are you taking part in any readathons in January? Are you doing Winterween? Are you doing Final Book Support Group? This felt super messy, but I'm excited to continue doing these prompts because I've actually really enjoyed them. This is the problem when I do this, is that I just want to carry on doing it for the rest of the day. Just let me pick books out based on the prompts. Ooh, a video concept. Anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.